Josh Allen is not the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. The hate has to stop. In this video, I react to Nick Wright discussing Josh Allen being voted the most overrated player in the NFL. And of course, Nick Wright is Patrick Mahomes' boy. So this is, of course, going to be some pure hatred coming from Nick Wright. I am going to completely prove everything about Josh Allen false. All the haters wrong. Because Josh Allen is actually not overrated. He's nothing but underrated. In fact, Josh Allen is closer to Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league, than he is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. Gronk spiked the like button. Let's discuss why Josh Allen, despite the hate, is not the most overrated quarterback, the most overrated player. He's actually really, really awesome and probably underrated. Let's take a look at what Nick Wright has to say, and let's prove Nick Wright wrong, okay? So, here we go, guys. This is just, I can't believe this. NFL players hate Josh Allen. Why? Why? Okay, let's see what Nick has to say. I don't think there's going to be anything he has to say that actually proves Josh Allen is the most overrated quarterback or anywhere close. There's pretty much nothing you could tell me that would make me believe that Josh Allen is the most overrated quarterback. But, Nick, you can give it a try. So let's go.
He's an excellent player.
True.
Starts with, he's an excellent player. Compelling argument. Let's continue.
Who's also overrated.
Excellent player that's also overrated. Okay.
So I don't know if I actually would not vote him the most overrated player in the league.
At least he gives them that.
But if you were to ask me, is Josh Allen underrated? No. Properly rated? Well, by some. Overrated?
What would be properly rating him if he's overrated? Anyone have an answer for that? What would be properly rating him if he's overrated?
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah.
And I would use the evidence of an argument we had a couple weeks ago. It was brief. It wasn't even the full topic.
Yeah, I wanted to react to that. I just missed out on it. I'm glad that I'm able to react to this, though.
Which is Brew just kind of flippantly saying, I mean, he's a Hall of Fame player.
He is. Anyone with two eyes could tell you Josh Allen is a Hall of Fame talent. He might not have the credentials yet, but he's still, what? Not even 30? So he's going to make it. Just based on the raw numbers alone, he's going to make it. I only believe he's not looked at that way because of a couple moments where his defense lost him games in the playoffs, or his coach, and or some robbery of awards and individual acclaim, like this past season. I think that his resume and what he's done, if you actually dive into the numbers, it's very, very impressive.
That makes him overrated.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
He's not a Hall.
I think he'll be a Hall of Famer.
He is. He has, but those are the things that make him a touch overrated. And I think specifically, because I understand Brew's not saying if he retired today, he would make the Hall of Fame, but you think he's on the trajectory.
I think he's on the
He's a dynamic player.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
A scary player.
Okay, what makes him overrated if he's dynamic and scary?
Who is also, in my estimation, and I think the numbers back it up, overrated as a passer.
Overrated as a passer. Okay, let's break this down, guys. We're leaving the reaction of this video for a second. We're going to go through some stats to break down whether or not Josh Allen is overrated as a passer. Okay, so here are the stats for Josh Allen last year. First, in PFF grade. Not Mahomes, not Lamar, not Burrow, not Stafford, not Herbert, not Dak, not Tua, Josh Allen. First, Third in big time throw percentage. I believe he was first in big time throws. Third in EPA per play. Third in success rate. Third in intended air yards per attempt. These are all passing statistics. Interesting. Now let's just take a look at Josh Allen's career so far when it comes to passing statistics. Okay, so we have his Pro Football Reference here. And I think it's pretty interesting that Josh Allen has 4,544 yards in 2020, 4,407 yards in 2021, 4,283 yards in 2022, and 4,306 yards. How many quarterbacks since 2020 have that many yards? How many quarterbacks have thrown 35 touchdowns in a season 3 times in the history of the NFL, period? And that doesn't even include his rushing touchdowns. That's just passing. That's just raw passing stats. So an overrated passer, apparently. Let's take a look a little bit deeper at how good Josh Allen has been this decade. He has the most total touchdowns since 2020 by 23 touchdowns over the prince that was promised, not Trevor Lawrence, but the baby goat, Patrick Mahomes. 23 more touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes. He's only played 1 more game. Interesting. Okay, so when it comes to yards passing the football, he's second, only behind Patrick Mahomes. Sounds pretty elite to me. What else? We've got just passing touchdowns, eliminating the rushing touchdowns. He's second in passing touchdowns. Interesting. Okay, how about yards per game passing the ball? Well, he's 7th. Okay, not that great, but still pretty good. How about touchdown percentage? Oh, he's tied for 2nd. Okay, that's interesting. Like, really? 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 Not elite? Not a great passer? Now let's take a look at the playoffs, because that's when the big games happen, right? So let's take a look at how good Josh Allen has been as a passer in the biggest games. 6th in yards per game in NFL history in the playoffs. Now, in terms of total touchdowns, Josh Allen is already 16th in NFL history in total touchdowns in the playoffs. He also has only played 10 games. He's only played 10 games. His passer rating in the playoffs is 100. That's 5th all time. His passing touchdowns, he has 21 to only 4 interceptions in the playoffs. 4. Okay, so these statistics prove, just raw data, that Josh Allen is in fact not an overrated passer in any metric, any way, shape, or form. Now let's just continue to break down the stats, and then we'll finish the little reaction from our boy, Mr. Wright. So let's just take a look at how PFF compared Josh Allen to the best quarterback in the league, which I concede is Patrick Mahomes. But if Josh Allen is overrated, he should not be better than Patrick Mahomes in PFF grades, which are basically a measurement of how good of a passer you are, how impactful of a quarterback you are throwing the ball, how important you are as a passer. So PFF ranks Mahomes number 1 and says they aren't going to overthink it. This is from VikesFan2777 making some great content here. Okay. They rank Josh Allen number 4. You can look this up too. These grades are all available on PFF if you have the PFF package. They rank Josh Allen 4 this season, entering the season, which would only say that Josh Allen is underrated because he's ranked 4th, not 2nd, not 1st, not 3rd, 4th. And yet his passing grade, his PFF grade was better than Mahomes this season by 6 points. It was better than Mahomes in 2022, a historic season for Patrick Mahomes, by the way, in which Josh Allen had a better PFF grade. And in 2021, he had an 86.6. Mahomes had a 77.1. So who in fact might be overrated here? I'm just saying. But I just think that is evidence that the guys watching the film also don't believe Josh Allen is overrated. Let's just keep on going, because why not, right? So we have right here from 2023 during the regular season, wins above replacement, which is also a PFF stat from the 2023 regular season. So Josh Allen, as you guys can see, is all the way up here in the right corner. And then everybody else is down here. Everybody. Doesn't matter who's second, doesn't matter who's third. Josh Allen looks like Tyreek Hill in a separation graph up in the top right corner when it comes to EPA and wins above replacement, because Josh Allen carries his team, which is also the reason why people think he's overrated, because his team isn't that good. It's just Josh Allen is that good, which makes the Bills overrated sometimes, but it's actually the opposite. Josh Allen is underrated and the Bills are overrated. That is what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, so that's next. Then we also have this. People talk about Josh Allen turns the ball over at an alarming rate. Somebody wrote that to me this morning. It's amazing how people just groupthink and don't have any background or facts. Josh Allen throws an interception 2.5% of the time. Joe Montana, 2.6. Peyton Manning, 2.7. Dan Marino, 3.0. Brett Favre, 3.3. Some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Interceptions as a stat overall are overrated, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, because as we see, these quarterbacks threw, a higher percentage of interceptions despite the era or whatever, and they still won a lot of games. Josh Allen has still won a lot of games despite throwing 2.5% interception rate in the regular season. But then, again, going back to this, he's never, like last year, he threw 18 picks, which was pretty unlucky and kind of like an outlier when you look at the rest of his career, even as a rookie when he was not a very good player. But he still has won 10, 13, 11, 13, 11. He's 63 and 30. I'm pretty sure that's the third best win percentage over the last 4 years, for sure. That's definitely the second most wins of any quarterback over the last 4 years, only behind Mahomes. So to me, I just don't know how you could use statistical evidence for Josh Allen being overrated. It's absolutely outlandish, makes no sense. Now let's see what Nick Wright has to say here, as they have their stats here for Josh Allen's ranks. But again, this is why I hate only using some of these stats. First of all, completion percentage, the worst stat in sport. Nobody cares. Passing yards per game, okay, that's fine. 2020, but we just proved that since 2020, he has the second most passing yards, or the sixth most passing yards, but the second most passing yards, period. Because you have to factor in how much he runs the ball. Like, that's also a factor. You're only looking at the volume, right? You're not looking at the actual efficiency of him as a passer, because that would show his touchdown percentage. That would show his overall ability to impact a game. When you compare Lamar and Josh Allen for their passing statistics, even compare a guy like Joe Burrow, who's a passer, against Josh Allen in their passing statistics. I mean, come on, guys. So let's finish this.
And we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about Jalen Hurts as a passer. I think he's better than Jalen as a passer. Lamar as a passer. I think he's better than Lamar as a passer. But we have no problem with other quarterbacks saying, great football player.
I will also say this, though. Josh Allen is not in a revolutionary scheme and never has been. Patrick Mahomes has had the benefit of that. Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, that's not even a comparable argument. They're not even close in terms of passing. I would say that Allen has had to throw the ball more based on his talent than even Mahomes is asked to throw the ball according to talent alone. Because scheme in Kansas City is a big part of it, right? Like, and then you also factor in, like, Allen has really only ever had one really great receiver, right? So I'm just like, I don't know how you could get to this.
Great player would love to have them some holes in their game, though, as a passer. Josh has different holes than those guys, but as far as
what are the holes?
Consistently delivering as a passer, I think he's a little overrated. Last year, Brew, it was very boom or bust, and we can show it to you. Half his games, just again from the very kind of standard.
Allen's passer rating, 2023 season. Over 108 games, under 91, 11 games. I'm not a huge passer rating guy personally, and a lot of it is impacted by touchdowns and interceptions. And my problem with this stat is, especially when it comes to somebody like Josh Allen, or take somebody like Cam Newton, for example, or even Lamar Jackson, it doesn't equate to their impact as a runner. So could Josh Allen have just thrown 12 of his touchdowns? Probably. He decided to run for 15 of them. So the touchdown interception ratio has a large impact on his passer rating, which was only 29-18 last year. So that's what equates to a 91.8 passer rating, which in today's day and age is not great, right? But you're missing 15 rushing touchdowns that led the NFL and set a record, and also 44 total touchdowns, which led the NFL. So if you actually look at it with the real evidence, which is 44-18, that's what just like 44-18. You know what I mean? So to me, I just feel like, and I also would love to see what Mahomes' passer ratings were, because he did not have a great season last year, but we're not talking about him. Lamar had a great passer rating season, but that's a lot based on efficiency, right? So I feel like it doesn't really equate to the actual impact the player is making on the game, especially when you have to carry your team and play with a lot of volume, like Josh Allen at times. He has to like throw for a lot of yards for his team to win. So to me, I don't know, man. It's just
passer rating metric, excellent. Half his games left something to be desired. None of those mid games, Wilds.
Yeah.
As you
also, the offensive coordinator got fired. Like, they were not in a good spot offensively. His number one receiver regressed. Like, there was a lot of things that happened last year on the Bills.
would like to say.
In the middle, though, it comes out as
a
roller
right,
coaster.
and
It's a roller coaster.
it's a roller coaster, and then since
Plus, he plays a lot in the cold. He plays a lot in the snow. He plays a lot in bad weather. If he were in a dome every game like Jared Goff, I imagine that number would be a lot higher.
since his breakout season in 2020, we can show you this as well. This is when it looked like 2020.
So yeah, 2020, he had his breakout season. 2021 to 2023, completion percentage, again, I don't care. Passing yards per game. And I think what you would look at here is what has happened to his game. He has ran more. He runs more now. He runs more. He runs for more touchdowns. That's been a huge factor in these statistics, like touchdowns to interceptions, right? Passer rating. That's what's impacting these stats. That's where I think Nick Wright is wrong. So when we go back and we take a look at Josh Allen's stats. So, right, 37 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, 36 touchdowns to 15 interceptions, 35 touchdowns to 14 interceptions, 29-18. Then we go down and we scroll and we look at his rushing. Okay, so since 2020, he had 421 yards on 102 attempts in 2020. That was actually the least of his career, which I don't think is actually like a coincidence. Okay, like it's not a coincidence that he had the least rushing yards of his career and had the best passing statistics, is it? Because then after that, he had 122 attempts, 763 yards, 6 touchdowns, 6.3 yards per attempt. He did have less touchdowns, but then after that, 7 and 15, and he had 524 yards last year, 726 the year before. He actually led the NFL in yards per attempt in 2021. And then you look at his fantasy, he's been number 1, number 1, number 2, number 1 in fantasy football. So I just, again, like this is kind of, to me, you're picking these stats that honestly don't mean a lot to me. Like passing yards, leading the NFL in passing yards and leading the NFL in passing touchdowns is well beyond what your touchdown interception ratio is, or what your passer rating is, or whatever. And then on top of that, I'd rather look at something like PFF big time throws or something like that, rather than a completion percentage, which has so many factors. Are you throwing the ball down the field, right? Where do you throw the ball? What's your ADOT, right? Like what's your offense? Are guys separating in your offense? The weather could impact that. There's so many things that can impact that. So to me, I don't even really need to watch the rest of this video, but we're going to get through it.
Oh, he's on his way. That was year 3 to being an elite passer. Since then, it's been nothing close to it. And so, again, that is just the passer. That is not the rushing stuff. Right. And so I'm saying, but I think that most people believe Josh Allen, without the running, is a top 3 quarterback.
I don't know. I've never talked about that before. I feel like the top 3 passers in the NFL are probably Burrow, Stroud, and Mahomes, probably, right now. Maybe Herbert, right? I think Allen's in the top 5, maybe not the top 3. That's fine. That's fair. But is that the actual evidence of a quarterback nowadays? That's not what we take. We don't just take the passing. That's a huge part of how we evaluate quarterbacks now.
That him, Burrow, and Mahomes.
About that. I'm not sure. You really think that?
Yeah, I think just as
take out the running,
that he's
and
still,
people would say he's top. I don't. think so.
Okay. Well, so that's my take. Is I just think I think his trajectory is a little overrated on the Hall of Fame front, and I think Josh Allen, the passer and decision maker, is a touch overrated. So that's where I stand.
All right. Well, yeah, you guys already know. I disagree. I think you guys can see through what I brought up today that saying Josh Allen is overrated is insanity. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. He's closer to being the best quarterback in any given season than he is being overrated. So that's it, guys. That is it. Thank you for watching. Gronk spike the like button. We'll see you in the next reaction video. Peace.